Now let's take it for a short test drive. As I said, this car, since I just bought it, I haven't put any license on it yet, so I cannot take it on the road. I have to say, this car does drive smooth. Well, as smooth as it can be on a gravel driveway. And it's for being such a check engine light came on. For being such a popular car in the culture of cars, really, that it's not very fast in its stock form. Oh. And I do apologize for the shaky camera-ness, but as I stated, this is a gravel driveway. So the car is performing well. I don't want to gas it, mainly because this driveway is not very long and it's it's gravel. The car brakes well, as you will see in 3, 2, 1. Scared you there, didn't I? I do have some potholes in my driveway, and we will see how well it will go over those, because I will not avoid them for the sake of video. We just went over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And 10. Now the car did perform very well over those, especially in the video, because usually it does scrape, which is not very great. I do have to turn it around here, just because, like I said, it has no license plates, and it's well, that's why. Let me just turn around this field here. Now, as we venture right back up the driveway here, there is parts of this car, that don't work. As I said, since it is an aftermarket stereo, the previous owner didn't put it in right or something, and it will only work when something special touches, because there's loose wires or something. So I just leave the radio on, and whenever it comes on, I have to change the volume or change the station, and sometimes it'll turn off when I'm doing that. So that's really just the problems of an $800 car. I have seen these cars cheaper. I just went with this one because it ran. It was cheap. I mean, there were cheaper ones, and I like the color. I mean, I guess that didn't really matter since it's chipping. And I looked online. I was looking at other vehicles. I thought about buying a Crown Victoria Police Interceptor, or a maybe even a Dodge Police Charger. But you know, those just have a little bit of cool factor. This one, this is different. You know, it's Volkswagen. You know, you see them a lot in the U.S., but they're not as common as a Honda in the U.S. or even a Ford. You know, those are everywhere. For the sake of the Crown Vic, you know, there's millions and millions of them, and I thought this would be cool. I looked up on Google. You know, I looked up cool Jetta builds, Mark IV Jetta builds, and I saw something that I remembered from a History Channel show. I believe it was called Lost in Transmission some years ago, and it had one of the guys from, I believe it was Top Gear, was the host, and he found cars and he built them up or restored them. And I remember this from when I was a little bit younger, that he had a Jetta. So I typed in Lost in Transmission Jetta, and because I couldn't remember what he did with the build, I just remember that he had the Jetta. And well, I saw it and it was turned into a truck. I was like, whoa. You know, with my budget right now, I couldn't afford a good running truck. You know, a good running truck minimum in my area, $2,000 for a good running truck. It could be rusty in spots, it could be sideswiped or something, but if it ran good and it was a truck, minimum $2,000. And I saw this and I was like, oh my gosh, that's cool, because it's a truck and it's a Jetta. And I looked further into it, and it's called a Smith Ute. And this guy out of Massachusetts, I believe, he builds these things, you know, and he builds kits for them. He doesn't actually build them because, you know, that would take more time, and he just, you know, he builds them and he sells the kits. You know, he has them for a couple different cars, and the Dodge Charger was one of them. And since this one was $800, I thought that was a good choice. You know, an $800 car with a $3,500 kit on it. But you know, I always liked Utes. They were sold in Australia. If you didn't know what a Ute is, it's spelled U-T-E. You should look it up because they're kind of cool. And they're basically the modern day El Camino. It's a sports car or a sedan in the front and a truck in the back. And that's kind of what that would be, the Smith Ute of the Jetta form. And there's some builds on YouTube you can see. And I just thought this was a good car to do that with, because, you know, it has flaws. That's why, that's any project car. You know, I'm not gonna swap the engine or anything, or do a transmission swap, but this car, it's a good $800 car, and it runs good. It drives well, as far as I can tell, because, well, I can only drive it on my private property, and it performs good in braking and steering. The steering's really good, and overall, I give this car, like, if this car was, you know, nicer condition, I give it like a 7 out of 10. But this one, you know, it's got its flaws. It's got the broken window, the broken mirror and the broken rear window. Those put together, you know, or not broken rear window, sorry, the bubbly rear window. And the radio works when it wants to, and I can't get in the door without turning the key at the same time. But that's just the factors of an $800 car. So I give it a very solid 5 out of 10, because of the size. You know, it's very small, but it is a compact car, so I did expect that. And you know, it's just, you know, what you expect for an $800 car. This has been a review on the 2000 Volkswagen Jetta Mark IV.